What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I am Dial, here with a classic movie review. Today we're getting into the Rocky and Creed franchise. Creed 3 is going to be out in theaters in a couple of months, so we're going to go back and talk about all 6 Rocky films and the first 2 Creed movies before the third one comes out in theaters. But without further ado, let's talk about the one that started it all, Rocky, that came out in 1976. Now, what can I say about Rocky that hasn't already been said? This movie is a milestone. Nobody expected this little indie movie to be as big as it was when it first came out. It was an award-winning darling, it launched the career of Sylvester Stallone, and Rocky is now a household name. Now, when it comes to the original Rocky film, what made it so special is that it did have a lot of substance. We've seen a lot of boxing films over the past few years try to emulate what Rocky did, but a lot of them ended up feeling a bit formulaic in comparison. Most of the time, it's a typical underdog story. Someone's going through struggles, overcoming the odds, training their asses off, and getting that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity against the best of the best. And then they overcome it and they defeat them, and that's it. It's really difficult to stand out when most of these boxing films tread the same story beats. But what made Rocky so different was not only that it was one of the first boxing movies to really hit the mainstream and it paved the way for those type of underdog stories, but Rocky at its core was more than just boxing. I mean, yes, the main crux of the film is about Rocky, the Italian stallion being this underground fighter from Philadelphia, getting this title shot against the heavyweight champion of the world, Apollo Creed. I mean, yeah, that's the main crux of the movie, but there was more than that, Rocky at its core was a drama. It was a character study. We follow Rocky in his everyday life. We get to know him as a person and his connection to the city that he grew up in. And I really like how Philadelphia is depicted in this film. It's really lived in, it's rugged, it's gritty. Philadelphia almost feels like a character in itself, which in turn makes us connect to Rocky even more because, he's just a regular guy who came from nothing. And he does come from the streets of Philadelphia, but it's a part of him, and he wears it on his sleeve proudly, and that's something I really appreciate about his character. It makes us root for him even more by the time he does fight Creed at the end. I really like the character of Rocky. I think he's just so likable, and he's such a relatable person, He's not this larger-than-life character. He's not this macho guy that thinks he could beat anybody. What I really appreciate about Rocky is that he acknowledges his weaknesses, He knows that he's not the best, and he knows he has to work hard to get where he's at. And, he doesn't always get it right, but, he keeps trying, and that's what I really appreciate about his character, is that, through all the trial and tribulation, he doesn't give up on his dreams. And that's something I really like about him. And yeah, he's not the brightest person around. There's a couple of instances where he's actually a bit dim-witted, but we love him for that. And he doesn't have the best social skills. Like when he's talking to people, you could tell he's not the best at interacting, and he stumbles on his words and stuff like that, and he repeats stuff over and over again. But he's just such an enjoyable character to watch. You just want to sit down and have a beer with him and listen to his life stories. He's just so engaging. In my opinion, I think this is one of Sylvester Stallone's best performances. It's no wonder that Rocky has become such an iconic character because Sylvester just put so much into this character. I ended up really liking him. But behind every great man, there is a great woman by his side. And that's where we have Adrian, played by Talia Shire. I hope I said her last name correctly, but I ended up liking her a lot too, She's very similar to Rocky, because at first when we see her, she's also very socially awkward. She doesn't really go out that much, she doesn't have a lot of friends. She's mostly at home with her brother, who we'll talk about in a minute. But I really like the chemistry that Rocky had with Adrian. I mean, at first, yeah, it's pretty awkward, and there's a couple of cringy moments between the two, because they both aren't the best at socializing. But I like how Rocky, is just trying to get her out there and break her out of that, that awkwardness. They're both having fun. I ended up liking the chemistry that they both have with each other, and I ended up buying their relationship, by the time we get to the end. And these two end up getting married too. So it's like, yeah, I just really like that. These two socially awkward people falling in love. It's just the cutest thing. Even though, yes, as I said, the dialogue between the two, it can be awkward at times. I'm not gonna lie, but I just found it endearing. Now, one person I don't really find endearing at all, and I don't know if this is the hot take for people, but Polly, played by Burt Young, who he's Adrian's brother in the movie. I don't like this character at all. I don't like Polly at all. He's just such a douchebag. I can't stand him. I like. There's plenty of times in the movie where he's just acting like an asshole to everyone, even Rocky and Adrian. I'm just like, why are we supposed to like this character? Why does Rocky hang out with this guy? He's just such an a-hole, and he takes advantage of him. And he doesn't get any better as the movies go on, So it's like, that's the one character that I just don't like at all. I just didn't care about him at all, and I wish he wasn't in the movie. That's how much I didn't like this character. I don't know how people feel about Polly. I don't hear a lot of people talk about this character, but I just had to put it out there that that's the one thing in this movie that I just didn't like. Oh, and I also liked Mickey in the movie, played by Burgess Meredith. I hope I said his name correctly. He was actually the Penguin in the Adam West Batman TV show, which I didn't even realize for the longest time. But I thought he was pretty good being Rocky's trainer in the movie. He gives him the tough love. He lights a fire under Rocky's ass, but it's what he needs. For him to, strive to get to the top. I like the dynamic that Mickey has with Rocky, and it ends up getting even better as the films go on. But yeah, I just really liked him as Rocky's trainer. I thought he was pretty good. And then we have Apollo Creed, played by Carl Weathers. Man, he's one of my favorite characters in this franchise. I'm going to be honest. And we don't get a lot of his character in this movie. He's just pretty much the big antagonist of the film. The big obstacle that Rocky has to overcome. So we don't really get to know him personally. That we end up getting to know more of him as the franchise goes on. But him in this movie, I just found him so charismatic. So he is full of himself. He's in ways he kind of acts as a foil to Rocky. He's the opposite of Rocky. While Rocky is a humble guy that acknowledges his weaknesses, Apollo is someone that thinks he's on top of the world. He's the best of all time. No one can beat him. He doesn't have any weaknesses. And, he likes to put on a show. We see him on TV, and he plays up how he's the greatest of all time, and the press and everyone just loves him. He in ways he kind of reminds me of a professional wrestler, because there's a lot of wrestling characters and personas that like to play up how great they are and whatever, like The Rock and stuff like that. He does remind me of that. But while he is technically the antagonist of the film, you can't help but like him. He's just so entertaining to watch. Now, when it comes to the actual boxing in the movie, I thought the boxing was really entertaining to watch. I thought it was fun. I mean, yeah, the only real boxing that we got in the movie was in the beginning when Rocky is fighting underground and stuff like that, and then we have the final fight between Rocky and Creed. So that's really the only boxing we see in the movie. But I thought the boxing in this film was pretty good. Now, it is really stylized. This is not really how boxing actually is in real life. That you could tell that they were a little bit over the top and stylized with their fighting, but I still thought it was entertaining nonetheless. One thing that kind of frustrated me though is how Rocky is fighting. Is that they make a point in the film to be like, oh, Rocky can take a lot of damage. He can take a lot of hits to the head. You can punch him so many times, but he keeps getting back up. Which that's something I commend with him. But I just wish that he learned to block more and dodge, because he just sits there and takes pain when he doesn't have to. It's I barely remember a time where he actually dodged an attack. So that's just probably one thing that I wish Rocky kind of improved on with his fighting in this film. And of course, we all know when it comes to training montages, this is the training montage to beat all training montages. the the music we have in the background, getting strong now. Dun, 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 dun. I love that training montage. I love the music. I love everything. Probably the most iconic training montage you'll see in any film. And of course, you see movies after this try to emulate this, but this is the OG. This is the standard. I love the training montages. But yeah, overall, I think this movie is a classic. I really, really enjoy this film. I thought this was a really good introduction to what ends up being the Rocky and Creed franchise. This is a very good starting off point. I really liked Rocky as a character. Probably one of the best underdog stories we've seen. Yeah, I like the boxing in the movie, even though there's not a lot of boxing in the film because it's mainly focused on character and story, and I really appreciated that. A lot of people may look at this movie and think, "Oh, it's boring," but I think it's actually engaging. Because I do end up being invested in the characters, except for Polly. I don't like Polly at all. Screw him. But I ended up liking Adrian. I really like Apollo Creed. I liked Mickey. But yeah, overall, this is just a really good film. It's a classic. But yeah, I will give the original Rocky a B plus. Really, really enjoyed this film. I don't think it's perfect. I do have some flaws here and there, but overall, I thought it was a really, really enjoyable film. But that's how I feel about Rocky. What did you guys think about it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? Comment your thoughts down below and let me know. So the next film we will be talking about in this franchise is Rocky 2. So tune in for that when it comes out. But if you guys enjoyed this review, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And please hit the bell if you want to be notified on future videos I'll be doing. But that's all I have for you Rocky fans, and I will see you guys next time. Talk to you guys later. Yo, Adrian! I did it!